Welcome to this video about network separation and segmentation. In this video, I'll discuss the steps that I've taken to implement a network with a pfSense firewall, a web server in the DMZ, a management server, and a workstation. Here is a picture of an overview of the network. We have the pfSense router/firewall in the middle. It is connected to the SegLab for internet access. On the left side, we have the DMZ, which has a server in it with a static IP. On the LAN, we have a workstation, which has a static IP, and an Active Directory/domain controller with also a static IP. However, for the workstation, it doesn't really matter if it has a static or a dynamic IP address. The firewall will make sure that the DMZ is only able to access the LAN for the DNS server, which is hosted on a domain controller, and if the DMZ is compromised, then unwanted traffic is blocked from the local area network. However, the local area network is able to go to the server in the DMZ to fetch the HTTP or HTTPS web page. In vCenter, I've made several virtual machines, including the pfSense router/firewall, the Ubuntu desktop, the Ubuntu server, and the Windows server. The pfSense router/firewall has network adapter 1 connected to internet static, network adapter 2 connected to private VLAN A, and network adapter 3 connected to private VLAN B. As you can see, the Ubuntu desktop is connected to private VLAN A, and the Windows server is connected to private VLAN A as well. The Ubuntu server is connected to private VLAN B. In this part of the video, I'll show some of the configurations that I've done. On WAN, LAN, and DMZ, I have a static IP address, and on LAN and DMZ, I have a DHCP server running for dynamic host configuration. Then on the Ubuntu desktop, I opened the GUI and I put the DNS server here, which is the DNS server on the Windows server, and then uncheck this DNS server override checkbox. Then I put the DNS server here and disabled IPv6, and I've done the same on the Ubuntu server side. Then on the firewall, I put the RFC 1918 alias for 192 and 172 network, and we can use this alias on the DMZ network to block everything from the DMZ net to the 192 and 172 network, except for HTTP, HTTPS, DNS, and NTP. And then on the LAN side, I have put some basic rules as well, which you can also find in this web page, which is really useful for setting up these rules. Then on services, the DHCP server, I made sure to put the range from .11 to .253, which makes sure that we have some room for static IP addressing. And then I've done the same on the DMZ side. Then for status, DHCP leases, I put the IP address of the web server, which is 10.0.0.2, and the IP address of the Ubuntu desktop, 172.16.1.2. It's not really necessary to have a static IP address, but I just wanted to use a static IP address because I wanted to try it out. Then on the Ubuntu server, I have a really basic Apache server running, and I followed this tutorial on it, which was also really useful. And then for the Windows server, I have followed this tutorial from IT Taser, which explains how to set up this server and how to set up the DNS server. So I'm going to show you that I'm able to access the web page by just inserting the IP address, and then I put the web page name in the DNS server as well, which makes sure that we are able to enter it as well. And then on this we can also just go to the news, or we can just use the internet or whatever. And then on the Windows server, we have the DNS server running. Which you can see here. So it's put under webpage.domain.local. And that's basically it for the setup. Thanks for watching.